Okay, LEC181 Worksheet 2. Going to go through some examples again just to illustrate how to approach some of these things. So let's start with question 1C. This is the one where you've got all the kind of funny shaped brackets. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to write that all out in full here, but I'm going to go and write it in a way which I think is going to be an easier way to address it. So if we start, we've got x, and then we're opening two sets of brackets. We're saying x minus 2x plus 3 all divided by x minus 1, and then we're closing that bracket, then we're opening another set, and this one is going to be 1 plus x plus 3 over 2 all over x, like that, and then we close the whole thing. So one way we could highlight this, we could say this one is our blue bracket here, this closes the whole thing, and then we've got, if you like, two sets of red brackets here. Okay, and then we've got the black brackets in the middle. Now, what I ask you to do is go and evaluate this with x equals 2. So we can go through and just replace x with 2 every time we see it. So we can start off with 2, so it'll be 2 times here. I'm not going to do the colours again. 2 minus 2 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 2 minus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 2 all divided by 2, close brackets, close brackets. Okay, so what we're left with here, let's see what we've got 2 times 2, so sorry, 2 plus 3 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, so we can say there's 2 minus 10 divided by 1, because 2 minus 1 is 1. That's what we've got in that bracket. And then here we've got 1 plus 5 divided by 2 all divided by 2 in that bracket. Okay, so 2 minus 10 over 1 is the same as 2 minus 10, so that bracket now just becomes minus 8. We'll multiply the whole thing by 2. This bracket is 1 plus 5 over 2. 5 over 2 is 2.5, plus 1 is 3.5, divided by 2 is 1.75. Okay, so that's the contents of that bracket. Now we can do the last bit, so minus 8 plus 1.75. So this is good, just testing your mental arithmetic here. Minus 8 plus 1 is minus 7, plus another 7.75 is going to be 6.25, and we're multiplying it by 2. So 6 times minus 6.25 is 12.5, which is the answer for this one. Okay, let's have a look at one of the questions on question, I think we'll go with a question 3. So this one is all about simplifying. Lots of good practice here for playing around with fractions. So question 3e, I think we'll have a look at. So this is x over 3 plus x over 2. Now what we've got to do here, you might remember this, when you want to add or subtract fractions, we need to put them on a common denominator. So the easiest way to work out the common denominator is just to multiply the denominators at the bottom. So the common denominator here would be 6. Now, let's just pretend for a minute that this is 1/3 plus 1/2. If we were going to write that on a common denominator of 6, so that'd be 3 times 2, so here, and as we're multiplying 3 by 2, we have to multiply the top bit by 2 as well to preserve the fraction. Okay, so 1 over 3, 1/3 is the same as 2 over 6. Now with here, we're multiplying the 2 by 3, so therefore we have to multiply the 1 by 3. So we have there, that becomes 3 over 6. We know that a half is the same as 3 over 6, and a third is the same as 2 over 6. And then we can complete our sum. This one's 5 over 6. Now this is exactly the same as what's going on over here. So our common denominator is going to be 6. Now, we multiplied the 3 by 2, therefore we have to multiply the x by 2. So that becomes 2x. We multiplied the 2 by 3, therefore we have to multiply the x by 3. 2x over 6 plus 3x over 6 is the same as 5x over 6. Okay, we're just adding straight across. Just as a quick aside, if we're left with something where we've got over a common denominator like this, we can write this in another way. 2x plus 3x all divided by 6, and that comes out with exactly the same answer. Okay, lastly, let's have a look at one of the ones on number 4. We'll do the very last one for f, which is a little bit complicated, or at least it looks complicated. And this is practicing some of the stuff that we did last time on worksheet 1. So we have 2 to the power 5 over 2 to the power 6 to the power minus 1. Our friend, I know, which sometimes confuses us, times 2 cubed. Now, when we got something to the power of minus 1, it's just the same as flipping it up. So if we had, for instance, 2 to the power minus 1, that's the same as 1 over 2. Remember, 2 we can write as 2 over 1. Okay, so that's all we do. So we do exactly the same thing here. So to get rid of that minus 1, we just turn this fraction up the other way. So this now becomes 2 over 6 over 2 over 5 times 2 cubed. Now again, I think this is easier if we just have one dividing line going all the way through. So remember, this is basically, we're doing that. So one way we can, the easiest way to write this would be 2 to the power 6 times 2 cubed, all divided by 2 to the power 5. Now we can remember our rules from last time, which you would have met before, I'm sure. We add our powers when we're going across. So 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. So that becomes 2 to the power 10 over 2 to the power 5. Now, and when we're left in this situation, we need to subtract. So 10 minus 5 is 5. So we're left 2 to the 5th. And that's our answer.